Hi, I'm Mike. Welcome to my Waffle Square, where I obsess about things and you get to benefit from it. Well, in episode 15 of our ongoing series where we are refurbishing this 2006 Land Rover LR3 with the V8 petrol engine, we are going to restore these heavily oxidized and yellowed headlights to look good as new. So let's get going.
Obsession.
Brought to you by Waffle Square.
So the process I'm going to use to restore these headlights could be done with them right here where they're at. You just have to heavily tape and mask everything off so that you're not running the risk of any sandpaper damaging the grille, fender, or bumper, or getting any overspray on them. But instead, I'm going to remove both headlights, and I'm going to do that for a few reasons. Number one, to remove the headlights, you have to remove the grille. And if you remember from episode 1, this grille is not secured on the bottom, it's aftermarket. One of our viewers reached out and wants to know if we can find the brand on it. So let's remove it anyway, see if we can figure out a way to secure it better while we're already working on the headlights. Number two, I think it's going to be easier to work these headlights if they're removed and sitting on a bench top. And then also a company reached out to Aspen and I. They want to send us some light bulbs for us to try out. They're specific for the LR3. So I think it'd be kind of cool to trade out the incandescent bulbs for LED bulbs and do a before and after video. So whoever installed this aftermarket grille must not have been very confident in these clips, or maybe the thing came off. So they put some self-tapping screws in here, and these happen to be 5/16. So let's just remove those. And with that done, we can start pushing down on these clips and start to remove the grille. There we go. It came off really easy. And no wonder. All right. Now up at the top of the headlight in two spots, over here and over here behind where the grille goes, are these little retaining clips that you pull up and that releases the headlight. So this one over here I've messed with before because it's exposed and visible even with the grille on. So I can just pull this one up to release it. This one over here is kind of stuck. I don't want to break anything, so I'm going to give the two spots a little shot of silicone lubricant. Maybe down the back a little. And let that do its magic for a moment. There we go. Now all the way up, it appears, is not the best way to go. You actually want to push down a little. See this shot here? So because of that, I'm just going to push them back down just a tiny bit to get them right in that big circle so that they'll come out. Yeah, just like that. There we go. And then we have one big plug right here that has to be removed. And in our case, we don't even have a tab on it. Maybe that's broken off in the past, but it just pulls right out. So we can get a better look from the passenger side one here that's not broken. You can see that clip up top. All you have to do is push it in as you slide out the connector. Well, with the headlight out, you can see just how far down the windshield wiper fluid bottle is. Make sure you keep stuff in there that won't freeze and crack that bottle, because it looks like it'd be a pain to get to. So one of our viewers, Steven, asked about this aftermarket grille. He wanted to know if the clips were the same and build quality, and more importantly, if I knew the make and model of it. So unfortunately, as I look across the whole thing front and back, I don't see any sign of a manufacturer's name. And the build quality isn't that great. If you look right here, this top area here has pulled away from the grille itself. Looks like I'm going to have to get in there and epoxy that. And then the answer to the reason why it was flopping down at the bottom was because this clip is completely broken, and this one here looks like it's worn away to the point where they're not retaining. So I'm going to have to see if I can locate this replacement clip here. It looks like it's just 4 screws to take out each one. Now, these headlight assemblies are really expensive. As you can see here, they range on eBay from like $111 to $230. If you go onto this website here, they're almost $2,000. So let's restore this. The method I'm going to use, I'm going to follow Chris Fix's method. It seems to work fantastic on this video here that I'll leave a link to. Basically, we are going to wet sand from 400 grit down to like 1,000, 1,500 grit to get all this oxidation off and get a nice smooth surface. And then we are going to clear coat it with a UV protectant. So as you can see down here, it says non-yellowing, UV resistant. And that is going to protect it from getting yellowed again. So first thing I'm going to do is wet down the glass, wet down the sandpaper, and I'm just going to gently start removing all this oxidation. Now this is the 400 grit that we're starting with. Oh yeah, I can already see that oxidation coming off. You can see it's getting milky there, so let's rinse all that off. Look at all that yellowish goo that dripped off of that lens. So after several minutes of sanding, I rinsed everything off and then wiped it down with a microfiber towel and let it dry. And we're looking for this nice, smooth haze all over the glass. And I can see right here, and over here, we don't yet have that. So I'm going to wet this back up and get to those spots that still need some attention. All right, so hopefully this shows up on the camera, but we have a consistent haze across all the glass. No little bits of oxidation perforated throughout. One consistent hazy look, and that's what we want. So now we're going to re-wet it, and we're going to take the same grit of sandpaper and take all the swirls out. So just go back and forth, left to right. And just look at the difference. We've gone from all this discoloration and speckled oxidation over to one smooth, hazy finish. That's exactly what we want.
My name's Will Robinson. I'm pretty sure you know that already.
All right, so I don't have a 600 grit, which was the next level that Chris Fix used. I'm gonna go straight to 1,000, and then after 1,000, I do have a piece of 1,500. So we'll see what that combination does for us. So I would say very little difference between the 400 grit and 1,000 grit. Maybe a little clearer here, but overall, to my eye, it pretty much looks the same. So the first thing I noticed when I started with this 1,000 grit paper was there was a lot of friction going from 400 to 1,000, like it was breaking even though everything was wet. And once you work through that, you can really tell when you've made a difference because it just rolls across the lens just as smooth as can be. All right, same procedure one more time. I have 1,500. You might be better off with the 2,000, but let's see what we get. So even with this 1,500 grit, when we go around like this, you can see swirls getting introduced into the lens, so we know it's having an effect. Now I'm going to re-wet everything and go back and forth for our final pass. So there is a noticeable difference in clarity from the 1000 grit to the 1500, especially right in there. All right, now that we're finished with the 1500 grit, it's time to get ready for paint. So we want to degrease the lens with isopropyl alcohol and the best lint-free paper towel or cloth that you have. All right, very light coats with 5 minutes in between. If you go too heavy, it'll run, especially as hot as it is here today in Las Vegas. Ooh, that's looking good. So look at the difference just after the first coat. Wow. All right, it's been 5 minutes. Let's get another coat on. Well, after several coats of the clear UV protectant, what do you think of the difference? I frankly am amazed. I couldn't be happier. Now, if you look closely, as you see here, you can still see a little bit of the orange peel finish on the lenses. And if that bothers you, you can go wet sand them after about 24 hours with like a 2 or 3,000 or above sandpaper grit. And you can remove some of that as long as you've built up enough of the clear coat. I don't think I'm gonna mess with that. I think it looks fantastic, dramatically better than when we first started. So I think we're good to go here. Now I'm gonna leave links to the clear coat that I used as well as the sandpaper, but honestly, anything other than the quick mix here can be purchased at your local hardware store. Nonetheless, all my links will be in the description below, and those are going to be Amazon affiliate links. So if you click on them, end up making a purchase, it won't cost you a thing, but I do get a small reward at the end of the month. It helps to justify all the time it takes to set up all these multiple camera angles and really put out the best quality product for you. Now, as far as the grill goes, if we turn it around, I am struggling to find these replacement clips. I've checked all sorts of auto parts stores. I've checked eBay. I can't find anything. Here's a close-up of what they look like. If you have any idea where I can get replacement clips for this grill, would you please let me know in the comments below? That would be really helpful. Otherwise, I'm going to have to come up with a method to screw them in just like the previous owner did up top. So if you found this video helpful, will you please give it a thumbs up? It really helps the algorithms to start suggesting it to more viewers like you. Also, please consider subscribing. I'm working really hard to put out good quality content. We've got plenty more videos to go on refurbishing this LR3, and it really helps the channel. Now, with any luck, our next video is going to be on comparing the stock incandescent light bulbs that are normal for the LR3 with replacement LED bulbs. Are they brighter? Do they look nicer? Do they throw any kind of codes because they're not drawing the same wattage or amperage? We're going to find out. So before we go, let's go over some comments from the last video where we replaced the leather seat covers in our Land Rover. B4UT1 writes, "It's rare to come across people who are as detail-oriented as you. What a pleasure to see you working on your car. My wife says I'm OCD with cars. I thought I was the only one." Thank you very much for your kind comments, and it's really touching to see that you two are working on this car for, in this case, your niece, while I'm working on it for my daughter. Now, Mark had a very helpful comment. He wrote, "Upholsterers use cushion ease, which is a slippery material designed to allow leather to slide easily over foam wrapping. It comes in the form of plastic, and applying a vacuum also works. Additionally, using steam can soften the leather or vinyl for fitting, then it will retighten when it cools. Great work though. I don't think people realize how long this job takes. Amen to that, Mark. Thank you for all the helpful tips. Frequent commenter Jerry wrote, "That is what they call sweat equity there. I'm going right out to my car now to condition my leather before it splits apart. Great job." Jerry, that's a great idea. That is not easy work, but thank you everyone who left a comment, and I hope to see you on our next video. Until then, thank you for watching.